The Bolian ship shook with roars of laughter as the sleek warship surrounded the battered human vessel. But little did the Bolians know, their arrogant mockery would soon turn to panicked screams. Captain Henry Bell gripped the armrests of his command chair, his knuckles white. On the view screen, the UNSS Resilience was completely dwarfed by the vast Bolian fleet. Dozens of powerful alien ships hung in space, bristling with advanced weaponry that could tear the outdated human craft apart in seconds. Shimmering blue beams lanced out from the Bolian vessels, scanning and probing the Resilience's hull. Henry exchanged grim looks with his bridge crew as the ship shuddered under the invasive scans. They all knew the Resilience was a relic, pulled out of mothballs for this diplomatic mission to the Bolian homeworld. Compared to the Bolians' gleaming warships, she looked like a rusted tin can. The view screen flickered, and a scaled blue face appeared, lips curled in a sneer. It was Linux, the Bolian fleet commander. "Humans," Linux spat the word like an insult. "You dare enter Bolian space in that pathetic excuse for a ship? State your purpose." Henry rose from his chair, meeting Linux's condescending gaze. "This is Captain Henry Bell of the UNSS Resilience. We come on a peaceful diplomatic mission to—" "Ha!" Linux barked. "A diplomatic mission? Don't make me laugh. Everyone knows humans are a backward, inferior species. You barely have interstellar travel. The only thing you hairless apes are good for is manual labor." Henry forced himself to stay calm as snickers echoed over the comm from the Bolian bridge. He opened his mouth to reply, but suddenly proximity alarms blared. A gargantuan black shape materialized next to the Resilience, appearing out of nowhere. Henry gaped at the massive Bolian dreadnought, easily 20 times the size of his ship. Its hull was covered with pulsing weapons ports, all swiveling to target the human vessel. "Enough prattling," Linux growled. "Leave now or be destroyed." Henry's crew looked to him with fear in their eyes, hands trembling at their consoles. The Resilience was a gnat compared to the Bolian fleet. They all knew it would only take one shot from the dreadnought to vaporize them. Henry's mind raced, searching for options. He couldn't back down. This mission was too important. If they didn't succeed, millions on Earth would starve without the emergency food supplies they'd hoped to negotiate for. As Henry struggled to find words, the comm crackled with harsh alien laughter. He heard the Bolians mocking the Resilience, joking about turning it into a garbage scow. Fury pounded in his head. He pictured the gaunt, hopeless faces of his family as they wasted away. No, he wouldn't let that happen. There had to be a way. Henry refused to let his crew and his people down. At that moment, the sensor tech spoke up urgently. "Captain, I'm picking up strange readings from the Maltus Nebula nearby. Massive energy spikes. It might be something we could use, some kind of technology or phenomena." The Maltus Nebula. Henry knew it was an uncharted cosmic mystery, whispered about by explorers who skirted its edge and spoke of eerie lights and vanished ships. Navigation hazards flashed on the star charts. But what other choice did they have? The Bolians had them surrounded and outgunned. The nebula was the only wild card left to play. "Helm, set a course for the Maltus Nebula," Henry ordered. "Full power to engines." "Belay that," Linux snarled over the comm. "Entering the nebula is forbidden. Stop now." Henry ignored him. On screen, the colorful swirls of the nebula rushed towards them. The Resilience plunged in, the Bolians' scornful laughter still ringing in their ears. As the view screen filled with spectral light, the crew gazed at the shimmering displays in wonder. Lieutenant Sorensen spoke softly. "The readings are incredible, like nothing I've seen. There's enough exotic energy in here to—" She was cut off by a deep, ominous hum reverberating through the ship. The deck shook as the lights flickered. Something was happening. The nebula swirled around them, tendrils of energy caressing the hull. A sense of ancientness and power seemed to fill the very air. Henry didn't know what cosmic secrets lurked in this mysterious realm. But he did know one thing. The Bolians had laughed at the primitive human ship. So had the rest of the galaxy. That was about to change. In the heart of the nebula, the Resilience would find a way to even the odds, or die trying. Because when humans were pushed to the brink and all hope seemed lost, that was when they were most dangerous. That was when they made the impossible possible. The Bolians were about to learn that lesson the hard way. As the Resilience ventured deeper into the mysterious Maltus Nebula, the crew held their breath. The ethereal lights danced across the view screen, casting an eerie glow on the bridge. Henry leaned forward in his chair, his eyes fixed on the sensor readings scrolling across the display. Suddenly, Lieutenant Sorensen gasped, "Captain, you need to see this." Henry rushed to her station, his heart pounding. What he saw took his breath away. Nestled within the swirling energies of the nebula was a colossal structure, its sleek lines and pulsing lights betraying an advanced technology far beyond anything they had ever seen. "Is that a space station?" Ensign Kim asked, his voice filled with awe. Henry nodded slowly. "And it looks like it's been here for a very long time." As they drew closer, the true scale of the station became apparent. It dwarfed the Resilience, making their ship look like a toy in comparison. Scans revealed that its technology was light years ahead of even the Bolians. Henry felt a surge of hope. If they could salvage even a fraction of this technology, it could give them the edge they so desperately needed. He turned to his crew, his voice filled with perseverance. "We're going in. Prepare to dock." The Resilience glided into an immense hangar bay, the ancient doors parting silently to grant them entry. As the ship touched down, Henry assembled a small away team, his heart racing with anticipation. They stepped out into a vast, dimly lit corridor, their footsteps echoing in the silence. The walls were lined with pulsing conduits and glowing panels, the air thick with the hum of ancient machinery. "I've never seen anything like this," Dr. Patel whispered, her eyes wide with wonder. They pressed on, navigating the labyrinthine structure with a mix of caution and excitement. Every turn revealed new marvels, soaring atriums filled with shimmering light, walls adorned with intricate alien glyphs, chambers housing technology that defied their understanding. At last, they reached the heart of the station. They found themselves standing in an immense chamber, dominated by a pulsating energy core that thrummed with unimaginable power. Henry approached a nearby console, his fingers trembling as he attempted to interface with the alien systems. Suddenly, the chamber filled with light. A shimmering hologram materialized before them, taking the form of a tall, ethereal being with luminous eyes and flowing robes. It spoke, its voice resonating through their minds. "Greetings, humans. I am Zelos, an artificial intelligence created by the progenitors, the ancient race that once ruled this galaxy." Henry stepped forward, his voice filled with reverence. "The progenitors? What happened to them?" Zelos's expression grew somber. "They were a proud and mighty race, but their hubris proved their downfall. They waged a cataclysmic war with a rival species, a war that consumed the stars and left only ashes in its wake." The hologram gestured to the energy core. But before their end, they created one final legacy. A device capable of granting any species the knowledge and technology to ascend to galactic dominance. For eons, I have waited for a worthy heir to claim this gift. Henry's heart raced. Could this be the salvation humanity needed? He met Zelos's gaze, his voice filled with drive. "How do we prove our worth?" Zelos smiled enigmatically. "You must face the trials, a series of tests designed to gauge your species' potential. Only those with the right balance of ambition, intelligence, and moral fiber can hope to succeed." And so, the trials began. Henry and his crew were subjected to grueling challenges that pushed them to their limits. They navigated treacherous simulations, solved mind-bending puzzles, and faced moral dilemmas that tested the very core of their being. Through it all, they persevered. They worked together, their bond as a crew growing stronger with each challenge. They relied on their ingenuity, their grit, and their unwavering belief in the human spirit. In the end, as they stood exhausted and battered before Zelos, the ancient AI smiled. "Congratulations, humans. You have proven yourselves worthy inheritors of the progenitor's legacy." With a wave of its hand, Xelos imparted to them the knowledge and technology to transform the Resilience. The once outdated ship became a sleek, powerful vessel overflowing with advanced weaponry and impenetrable defenses. Xelos presented Henry with a small, crystalline device, pulsing with an inner light. This is the key to unlocking the full potential of your species. Use it wisely, and you will usher in a new era for humanity. As the upgraded Resilience emerged from the nebula, the waiting Bolian fleet could scarcely believe their eyes. The once pathetic human ship now gleamed with power and purpose, a testament to the unconquerable perseverance of its crew. Linux's face contorted with rage. "Open fire! Destroy them!" A barrage of weapons fire erupted from the Bolian ships, hurtling towards the Resilience with deadly intent. But the human vessel's new defenses absorbed the onslaught effortlessly, leaving not a scratch on its gleaming hull. Henry stood tall on the bridge, his eyes blazing with commitment. He opened a channel to the Bolian fleet, his voice ringing out with newfound strength. "Linux, hear me now. You and your kind have mocked and belittled us for too long. But today, we stand before you as equals. Today, we show you the true potential of humanity." He turned to his crew, their faces alight with the same fire that burned within him. "This is our moment. Let's show them what humans are made of." And with that, the Resilience surged forward, ready to meet the Bolian fleet head-on. The stage was set for a confrontation that would shake the very foundations of the galactic order, a battle that would echo through the ages as the moment humanity claimed its rightful place among the stars. Linux's blue-scaled face contorted with rage on the interface. "You foolish humans think you can challenge the might of the Bolian Empire?" he snarled, baring sharp teeth. The Bolian fleet opened fire. Streaks of energy lanced across space towards the Resilience, but the shots splashed harmlessly against the ship's new defenses, dissipating in flashes of light. Henry's lips curled into a cold smile. Not just challenge, defeat. He pressed the crystalline device Xelos had given them. A wave of energy pulsed through the ship. The crew gasped as their minds expanded. Tactical data flooded their awareness, shield frequencies, weapons readouts, enemy ship positions. They saw the battlefield with perfect clarity, predicting trajectories and weak points instantly. "Holy shit!" breathed Lieutenant Sorensen, her eyes wide. "I can see everything." The Resilience moved with impossible grace, weaving between enemy ships. Its weapons lashed out with surgical precision, slicing through Bolian shields. Hulls ruptured, venting atmosphere and debris. On the bridge, the crew worked in perfect unison. No words were needed. They anticipated each other's actions flawlessly. "Incoming fire port side," called Ensign Kim, but the Resilience was already moving, effortlessly evading the barrage. Linux's face twisted in disbelief as his ships were torn apart. "Impossible! Regroup! Surround them!" But the humans were always one step ahead. As Bolian ships tried to flank them, the Resilience was already maneuvering to counter. Its weapons found every weakness, crippling engines and weapons. Within minutes, the mighty Bolian fleet lay in ruins. Crippled ships drifted, venting plasma. The few intact vessels fled in disarray. The Resilience closed on Linux's battered flagship. Henry's voice rang out, cold and commanding. "Surrender, Bolian, or be destroyed." Linux stared at the human captain, his arrogance replaced by fear and grudging respect. With trembling hands, he cut power to his weapons. His once mighty ship went dark. Henry strode confidently onto the Bolian homeworld to complete his diplomatic mission. Word of the shocking defeat spread rapidly. Other alien powers who had long dismissed humanity now eyed them warily. As the Resilience returned to Earth, crowds cheered the returning heroes. Henry and his crew had brought back the key to humanity's ascension. No longer would they be subjugated. A new era had begun. Humanity would take its place as rulers of the stars. The Resilience glided through the inky void of space, its advanced engines humming with barely contained power. On the bridge, Captain Henry surveyed his crew, their faces set with steely dedication. They had tasted victory against the Bolians, but this was the true test. We're approaching Croton space, sir, Lieutenant Sorensen reported, her fingers dancing across the holographic display. Henry nodded. Take us in, full speed ahead. The ship surged forward, effortlessly bypassing the outer defense grid of the Croton Empire. Alarms blared on nearby patrol ships, but the Resilience was already gone, diving deeper into enemy territory. As they neared the Croton throne world, Henry opened a channel. His voice rang out across all frequencies, carried by technology far beyond anything the Crotons possessed. Attention, Croton Empire. This is Captain Henry of the Earthship Resilience. We demand the immediate and unconditional surrender of your Emperor and ruling council. For a moment, there was stunned silence. Then the comms exploded with outraged responses. Insolent human vermin, a gravelly Croton voice snarled. You dare challenge the might of the Croton Empire? The Black Fleet will crush you like the insignificant gnat you are, another voice chimed in. Henry cut the transmission, a grim smile playing on his lips. And now we wait. They didn't have to wait long. The void lit up as hundreds of Croton warships dropped out of hyperspace, their massive hulls jam-packed with weapons. At their center loomed the flagship of the Black Fleet, a behemoth that dwarfed even the largest human vessels of old. My God, Ensign Kim whispered. There's so many of them. Henry's eyes gleamed. Don't worry, we have the advantage. The Resilience sprang into action, its new systems allowing it to dance between the lumbering Croton ships. Energy beams lanced out, slicing through shields and armor with surgical precision. Target their flagship, Henry ordered. Let's show them what we can do. The Resilience's main cannon powered up, a lance of pure energy erupting from its bow. It struck the Croton flagship dead center, punching through its defenses like they were tissue paper. Secondary explosions rippled across its hull as the massive ship began to list. Panic spread through the Croton fleet. Their vaunted Black Fleet, terror of 1,000 systems, was being decimated by a single human vessel. Ships exploded left and right, unable to land a single hit on the nimble Resilience. Within an hour, it was over. The once mighty armada was reduced to floating debris and crippled hulks. The Resilience hung in space before the Croton throne world, untouched and triumphant. Henry opened another channel. Croton Emperor, you've seen what we can do. Surrender now, or we'll be forced to take more drastic measures. On screen, the Croton Emperor appeared. His bulbous eyes were wide with terror, his tentacles writhing nervously. We surrender, he stammered. Please spare our world. As news of the Croton defeat spread, the galaxy reeled in shock. Humanity, long dismissed as a backward species, had brought low one of the mightiest empires in known space. On the bridge of the Resilience, Henry turned to his crew. This is just the beginning, he said, his voice filled with conviction. There are more tyrants out there, more injustices to right. Who's with me? The crew's response was unanimous. As one, they raised their fists and cheered. The Resilience's engines flared to life, carrying them towards their next target. The age of human subjugation was over. A new era had begun. The Resilience glided through the inky void, its hull pristine despite the recent battles. Captain Henry stood on the bridge, his eyes fixed on the swirling radioactive debris that was once the Trillian homeworld. The crew worked in silence, the weight of what they'd witnessed pressing down on them. Status report, Henry said, his voice barely above a whisper. Lieutenant Sorensen looked up from her console, her face pale. Shields at 87%, sir. Minor damage to the outer hull, but all systems are operational. Henry nodded, his eyebrows furrowed. He turned to face his crew, seeing the shock and horror mirrored in their eyes. What we've seen here today, it's beyond comprehension, but we can't let it paralyze us. Ensign Kim spoke up, his voice trembling. Sir, those billions of trillions, they never stood a chance. We didn't mean for this to happen, did we? Henry shook his head. No, we didn't. But we set these events in motion, and now we bear the responsibility. He walked to the center of the bridge, addressing the entire crew. We've been given power beyond imagination, and with it comes a burden just as great. The galaxy is full of tyrants like the Trillian Emperor, beings who would sacrifice their own people rather than relinquish control. The captain's eyes hardened. It falls to us to bring order to this chaos, to topple these despots and free the oppressed. It won't be easy. We'll face more days like this, more difficult choices, but we can't shy away from our duty. Lieutenant Commander Rodriguez spoke up. What's our next move, sir? Henry turned to the view screen, watching as the last remnants of Trillia dissipated into the void. We continue our mission. There are more empires out there, more injustices to right. We'll dismantle them one by one, no matter how long it takes. He faced his crew again, his voice filled with conviction. We'll build something better in their place. A galaxy of freedom, of justice. It's a heavy burden, but we're the only ones who can bear it. The crew straightened in their seats, a new purpose settling over them. They had seen the worst the universe had to offer, and they were ready to face whatever came next. Helm, Henry ordered, set a course for the Andromeda sector. We have work to do. The Resilience's engines hummed to life, propelling the ship away from the graveyard of Trillia. As they entered warp, Henry watched the stars streak by, each one a potential battleground in their newfound quest. The mantle of galactic guardians greatly troubled on his shoulders, but he stood tall, ready to face the challenges ahead.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.